I think an overwhelming portion of the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man.
See, now, when you're a racist like Jimmy Carter, you start to see everything through the eyes of race. And since Jimmy Carter has long been an anti-Semite and probably harbors, since he's from that part of the world, tremendous white guilt for his ancestors' treatment of blacks, he now projects his own feelings that are probably questionable and says that anybody who opposes Obama's policies is a racist. That would be the equivalent of saying, and the reason some Italians opposed Mussolini was because Mussolini was white, not because of his policies. This is insanity. Listen to Jimmy the Peanut next in 02.
Racism inclination still exists. And I think it's bubbled up to the surface.
Wait. Would that include the black students who beat up a white boy with glasses on a bus the other day? Would that include the 4 people of color who raped a white girl at Hofstra University, Jimmy, or is only applied to the people that you want to promote because their policies are all socialist, which yours always were? I mean, this is such rubbish. But they're all coming out of the woodwork now. Here they come. Here's another one. Georgia Representative Henry Johnson speaks out about how Wilson's outburst, calling the president a liar, and how it has fueled racist feelings. You got to hear 4 and 5. You're not going to believe them.
If I were a betting man, I would say that it instigated more racist sentiment, feeling that it's okay. You don't have to bury it now. You can bring it out, talk about it fully. I guess we'll probably have folks putting on white hoods and white uniforms again and riding through the countryside, intimidating people.
See, this is insanity. This is all racial paranoia being provoked by Jimmy the Peanut because it worked for him. Jimmy the Peanut's entire life has been built around a sort of, I would call it reverse racism, but there's no such thing as reverse racism. Jimmy Carter meets all of the qualifications, in my opinion, of being a stone-hearted racist. And you know something? I'm sorry to bring it back to this, but I have to. His frat boy, his front man, Bill Moyers, that fraudulent phony, his front man, Bill Moyers, wrote a hit piece on me about a year ago, saying that I had provoked violence with my radio show. The British actually picked up what Bill Moyers did in that lie, and I'm considering bringing a libel suit against Bill Moyers for it. I have the article. So I'm telling you that these Southern types who are deeply racist, I didn't say all Southern types, these Southern types who still inherently in their encoding, their DNA encoding, carry around tremendous white guilt for what their ancestors did to black people. And I don't share that because my ancestors themselves were close to slaves as they came over to this country. Perhaps Jimmy Carter's ancestors owned plantations. I really don't know. Either it is because of white guilt or because they actually are racists, and there's no better way to hide as a racist than to scream racism and to pretend you're on their side. It's a classic psychological profile of Jimmy Carter. And the reason I say it is because this man holds nothing back when it comes to Jews in Israel. Now, it doesn't matter whether or not you are for or against Israel. You got to understand Jimmy Carter meets all the qualifications that were described by the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, make no mistake about it, there is no such thing as an anti-Zionist. They are all anti-Jew. He said that. I didn't say that. And I guarantee you that Jimmy Carter meets that qualification. But we have to play these things because you're not going to believe it. Jimmy Carter was probably the worst president in American history, caused us more damage than any president in American history. And I'll give you a few lay out for you a few realities here. And the interesting thing is that Obama, in many ways, mimics Jimmy Carter policy-wise. They are both extremely off the ken of balance. They're extreme leftists. Jimmy Carter was always questionable as an American, in my opinion. I'll give you an example. Jimmy Carter attacked the Shah of Iran. Jimmy Carter drove the Shah of Iran into exile. Jimmy Carter encouraged Ayatollah Khomeini to come out of exile in Paris. And in so doing, he allowed and permitted the disease of Islamofascism, or if you wish something more polite, radical Islam, to metastasize across the globe. Historically, that would be laid at Jimmy Carter's feet if you were a fair historical a writer of history. But since most historians are not fair, and most of them are either plagiarists or owned by the Democrat establishment through the universities and their funding, you're not going to read that anywhere. But it was Jimmy Carter who empowered radical Islam and spread it like a virus across the planet. So we're going to listen to this cracker, and he says anyone who opposes Obama's socialist tendencies is a racist? No, Jimmy, you're wrong. No, my friend, he who smelt it dealt it is what kids still say in grade school, okay? So I've had enough of Jimmy Carter, to be honest with you. But if you know anything about history, you got to understand Jimmy Carter himself has caused more death and destruction on this planet with his radical left-wing policies than any single man. That's my opinion. It's one man's opinion, and I don't need to argue it with you. It's a reality. You're not going to read it on Wikipedia either. They're all owned by the left-wing establishment. Anyone who's a conservative, attacked by Wikipedia. Anyone who's a communist, socialist, pervert, supported by Wikipedia. So let me tell you something. You want your history? Choose your source. You want to know who Jimmy Carter is? You better not listen to Bill Moyers. You want to know who Bill Moyers is? You better not listen to Jimmy Carter. You believe anyone who opposes Obama's policies is a racist? Then you yourself are a crazy person.
Savage.